Hello, fellow Supermoms, and welcome to another episode of the Special Needs Supermom podcast. Like I promised, last time I was talking about, New Year's resolutions and goal setting. And I kind of promised, how do you do that with kids? And especially in the world today, where state tests apparently decide your future or your happiness, and high-end goal setting, and more kids that suffer from depression. I wanted to talk about, how do you set goals with your kids? Based on what? And why is it so important to be careful about goal setting around, only getting A's for school and things like that. With Wonder Boy, and now almost 19, and Supergirl being 17, I don't think we can say that we were really, big time goal setters. Of course we had goals. It was more about, a new year, what was needed, what did they want, how far away they lacking behind, because that, was the case with both of them. Supergirl, because she's dyslexic as possible. And of course, in the beginning, when we moved to the States, it didn't help that, of course, that was his language barrier. It was one of the reasons we found out so late that she was severe dyslexic. But also with Wonder Boy, with his autism and his ADHD. Not that he has a clear learning disability, like Supergirl with being dyslexic. But I remember when he was tested and diagnosed at KU Med in, how long ago? Long time ago. When did we move? I think 2010. Yeah, 2010. 11. So, long time ago, rabbit hole. Not really important, but I remember his professor clearly saying, teach him now where the autocorrect is on his computer, because spelling is just not his thing. Grammar is just not his thing. And it proved to be the case, because oh boy did we try. But it really, when you hear him talk, he's this little professor from early age on, when he finally learned to speak understandably, because he had this fantasy language for a long time that only us as parents understood. But spelling, still not his forte. And because his foundation was in Kansas, he still mixes Dutch and English grammar a lot. And we now found that most of the time, English is his go-to. But in English, in Dutch, it doesn't matter. He just doesn't get grammar rules. He seriously doesn't. I think he would be way better off with 17th century Shakespearean English than nowadays modern rules. I remember his teacher saying, well, but you can, if you hear a long E or a short sound or a long sound, it depends on how many T's or how many D's is afterwards. But he didn't hear that longer sound or that shorter sound. And still, to this day, he doesn't get it. So, anyway, goal setting. I was shocked about a few years ago when I talked about this, I think on my page or in a group, and somebody I knew commented saying, oh, but each year for summer. I said, oh, what are your plans for summer? And it was something to do with the kids were going to this high-end educational summer camp. And basically the whole summer was blocked for educational camps. And also she talked about how they set the goals for the year, and it were all each and every goal was about high achievement. And I said, so when are you ever, having downtime or anything? None. She said, downtime is for later when you graduate and, you have your degree. And how many of us adults are good with downtime? I was shocked. And, of course, there's a big difference. If you have really smart kids, in the Netherlands we call it, you have plus classes. We call them plus because, for the kids that learn easy, need more challenges. But if you have kids that struggle, Wonder Boy on the one hand was really smart, on the other hand, lowest level scoring in grammar, it can be really hard. So, if you have kids that, really are book nerds and love to only learn, and, different. But I really think I was shocked by the fact that there was no downtime in their schedule, and there was also, no fun goals. Even the athletic things were geared towards, well, maybe that can help them get a scholarship, and not because they thought it was fun. So it was just two different people, two different approaches. And of course, what I tell you now about goal setting in this podcast is based on my experience and the struggles with Wonder Boy and Supergirl. So it may be totally different for you. But I saw how state tests and teachers constantly only focusing on the grade A students and getting an A as a result, only focusing and applauding the high achievers, what it did to the self-esteem of my kids, and them not feeling worthy enough. So, having said that, let's dive in. Like I said, I really think in this age, how do you call it, this day, it is where dreams and self-esteem really can get crushed, because of the state test, but maybe also sometimes a little bit of overprotection. And it really is that clash of standardized tests and with disorders and disabilities, or, not every kid is a professor. So if you're just a happy grade C kid, but you only, and you're a doer and not a book person, but you only see the people getting applauded for, going to university or getting A's for their tests, it can really lower your self-esteem. And if there's only place for, getting therapy to improve your reading, getting therapy for whatever. I know one person, and I get where she's coming from. Her daughter has, the moment she is out of school till the moment she goes to bed, she only has tutoring to just get her to the highest standards. And of course it's great to have, extra help. But this girl has no downtime. Absolutely no downtime. Yeah, maybe a little bit in between sports in a weekend. But I think your kids should be able to be bored and just do what is fun as well, especially as a kid. As adults, we so many adults, and you see so many teens getting depressed and adults getting a burnout because of the constant pressure and trying to meet the highest standards. So what we saw and what I struggled with, it already started with, the Well Baby Clinic. That your kid is either too thin or too thick, too long or too short. You have those graphics where they say, well, an average kid weighs this much when there are so many weeks, and they are able to draw this line or do that when they're 18 months, and it's going really down the hill from that moment on. I remember that with Wonder Boy being our first, and we had no friends or family that also had young kids. We were the first in our group of friends and in the family. And I got so insecure because Wonder Boy apparently didn't do according to the books. He was a little bit slow with walking, and then you already feel the pressure on the baby groups. Oh, is your kid not walking yet? And then you had those wonder babies that, were able to walk when they're 6 months and eat full meals and, all kinds of difficult, disgusting things by the time they were 12 months, and they were able to read when they were 2 years old. And well, Wonder Boy was just Wonder Boy. And he was a lovely baby. He was a lovely baby. And a really happy baby as well. But apparently that didn't matter because he didn't follow the guidelines, the book, the way he should develop. And thankfully, by the time, a year, 9 months later, we got Supergirl. And I already by that time thought, okay, if there's one thing I'm not going to panic about, is that if he weighs enough, or already talks a full sentence, or is doing blah, because I got depressed every time I went to the well baby clinic. And then you have kindergarten, and that's supposed to be fun. And just, the way you slowly start to read, at least there's a big difference, I noticed, between the Netherlands and the US, where Supergirl went to kindergarten. They were supposed to already be able to read quite well in kindergarten in the US. In the Netherlands, that's where you start to learn how to read. And even within Europe, there are quite some differences. And Wonder Boy had a lovely time, and he was applauded for his math skills and building skills, because the way he was building with the big blocks in the corner. We always had a corner for building and a corner with dolls and everything. And that was way beyond what his peers were doing. Yes, well, the only toy he was ever interested in as a baby was building and Lego, Duplo. But yeah, they were a bit concerned because that was way above what he was doing. And then on the other hand, he didn't draw lines or didn't like to doodle. So all the kids were doodling stuff. The first time Wonder Boy ever doodled something, and I'm a doodler, I love to draw. So I was so happy I was going to draw with my little toddler, and he didn't care less about doodling. He was not interested. He was stacking all the pencils, but not building or not drawing with them. The first time that he made a serious drawing and showed it and was really proud of was a freaking submarine. So from forced drawing because he had to draw to a really cool submarine with, little slides and stairs, little puppets all around. And then, they were doing things. But apparently that was not good either. So there's no pleasing the standard line, the graphics. And then you're only in kindergarten. And then the spelling tests started. And Wonder Boy and Supergirl both really struggled with the standardized tests, the state tests, because they're all about spelling, reading, and math. And Wonder Boy loved to read, but he was really slow. Supergirl, well, we found out later, severe dyslexic. But that never caught up. So there was, then you already have to, my kid is in advanced reading by the age of 8. And our kids were struggling. And only heard the kids being complimented that were doing extremely well, beyond average. And a teacher can make such a difference, I have to say. A teacher can make such a difference. You know, you have teachers that see the ability of a kid and accept them for what they are, you know, and applaud a kid for the effort. And we had one day that we were back in the Netherlands, and one boy came out of the classroom, and he was in tears because the first time he got an A for a spelling test, and his teacher had a trick to help him with that. And I remember his second grade teacher in Leavenworth. We all struggled. I struggled, she struggled. Then we finally had a diagnosis, and we knew what was going on and how we needed to help him. It was the first time that, you know, I was allowed to sit in a classroom in the morning and see what was actually going on. And it was shocking to witness that within one math exercise, it was called Super 6. It was the first thing they did in the morning, 6 little math problems, and he was distracted within the first math problem, and he would do something else. But I remember, you know, they had a kind of a seeing how quick you could read. And it was kind of like a contest. And she didn't say that he needed to reach, you know, she had this piece of paper with all kinds of words. And she didn't say to him, oh, or you didn't see on the paper what the average was. She just let him read as fast as he could within a minute or 2 minutes or something. And when we kind of figured out what was going on and how we could support him most, she would applaud him for his effort. And, oh, wow, you had 2 more words than last time. And so she applauded him for the effort and not, you know, well, you only read, I don't know, 20 words, and a kid your age should read 50 words or something. That's a humongous gap. You feel like a failure immediately. No, she focused on what he did. And yes, of course, behind the scenes, she would, you know, talk to me about, you know, what is normal for that age and how we could help him. But she applauded him for the effort, and I never forget it. And it was the same for his teaching in 4th grade back in the Netherlands. She applauded him for his effort, and she embraced him being different, and she really helped his self-esteem. And it was so unfortunate that his 6th grade teacher, and the 6th grade teacher in the Netherlands, the 6th grade is where you do your final state tests, and they decide in the Netherlands, for the biggest part, where you're going to go for high school, because we have different levels of high school. So it is a huge momentum for a lot of parents, and you have kids that the moment they go into 4th grade, they get extra tutoring. And everything is based on getting the highest level of high school, which is gymnasium. But what that does, and of course, if your kid needs a little bit of one-on-one tutoring, and that helps your kids. And, you know, if they have the potential, and if they like, you know, if they are a bookworm, I would say gymnasium, the highest level. You love to read, you find it easy to read and learn. You don't mind reading books and doing homework for a lot of hours. But if you're a doer, a kid, you know, that is just more a hands-on kind of person, is gymnasium the best level of high school? And we struggled, especially with, well, I have to say I struggled only with Wonder Boy, because Wonder Boy on one hand was being this smart professor, on the other hand really struggled with certain things. And his teacher in 6th grade destroyed that boy's confidence, because he was only about grade A students. And both my kids, when the results were were there, and we were really happy for them and applauded them. You know, you did a great job, and wow. And both came home the next day saying, well, I actually don't think I did it really well, because that and that kid was called in front of the entire school or the entire class because they had the highest results. And Supergirl heard classmates tell about the fact that, well, can you imagine getting, if you would have, say, like 5 levels of high school, can you imagine having a C level or lower? Oh, wow, that would be so embarrassing. So she came home saying, should I be embarrassed, Mom? And I went like, no, of course not. Do you really want to have so many, have homework for 2 hours each day with that, and do this and that? And she went like, that means a lot of reading. And she went like, no, I just want to do this. You see, you don't want to go to that end level, that high level of high school. But it was, setting goals based on the highest level. If you set goals that are, just based on school results and going to college or university, especially if your kids struggle, what kind of message do you give them? That you can only be successful and worse, happy when you reach the highest level. That you only matter when you reach the highest level, because from an early age on you see that going on in school, and you see parents, and I struggled with it as well, doing all these extra things, trying to get the highest level out of them. But sometimes that highest level is not what is best for your kids, or with even the best efforts, it's just not in them. And that's totally fine. And the moment we let go of the, getting that highest level, or let go what the average kid was supposed to be able to do. I remember I relaxed as a young mom. The moment I let go of those standardized baby graphics, that kids should be able to speak that many words on that level and be crawling or running at that age. The moment I let go of that, I relaxed. And I saw that with my kids as well. The moment we relaxed, and of course help them, and sometimes had extra help in place with things they struggled with. But the moment we let go of the end results and applaud them for the efforts, that made all the difference. So I'm already talking 23 minutes and I still haven't told you about the few things that can really help set a goal. And set a goal that make them happy and help them achieve whatever they want to be, and not set them on the edge, like you see with a lot of goal setting. So how do you do that? Well, the first thing is, don't set a goal for your kid. Set a goal together, and that doesn't only have to be about school, but also for fun things that they think might be fun to do. So set a goal together. Make it doable. Have a reward chart. Reward the effort and not the outcome. And celebrate mini wins and big wins. So explaining that, setting a goal together. Like I said, not only make school goals, but also fun goals. Ask them, what is important? Why is that important? If there's no why it is important, if you can't make it clear to them why it is important, they, need to do math or read, well, good luck. Helping them getting, having fun achieving that goal. Because if they don't get the why, it's the same for you. how much effort are you really going to put into it, and how much fun are you going to have reaching that goal? And goal setting, reaching a goal, of course, it's a little bit hard and gets you out of your comfort zone, but that doesn't mean that it can't be fun along the way. So help them set a goal. And if that's reading, let them explain why it is that important, and in their words, why do they think it matters? What is needed to get that goal, to get to that goal? So set a goal together with your kid, or set maybe max 3 goals together with your kid. Not for your kid. Listen to them, talk to them, let them come up with an answer and what they think is needed. Then make it doable. So reading, for example, and especially for the kids struggling with reading, don't have an impossible long goal, like by the end of the year you should be able to do that. That's not a lifetime. The same with reading. Don't make the goal read 300 pages or finish this book within a month. If your kid hates reading and you come up with even a tiny book might put them on edge. So don't have them too big or too fake. Yeah, no, make them small and that they can grasp it. So instead of reading an entire book or finish the reading levels by the end of the school year, maybe say read for 10 minutes with mom 5 days a week, not every day. Give them a break, 5 days a week. If 10 minutes in the beginning is a struggle, make it 5. Make it even 1 minute. If the struggle is really big in the beginning, make it really small. And like I said, don't reward the end result. A page or a book or what, the effort. You tried for a minute. You tried for, 5 minutes. And in the beginning with Supergirl, I read a page, she read a page. Or I read 2 pages, she read 1 page. And it really helped. Make a reward chart, together. Pick one out, make one together. If your kid is into Star Wars, make a Star Wars themed reward chart. Have it visible, so out there on the fridge or, where they can look at it. But make it a positive one, and that has to do with getting a sticker for the effort and not the end result. Setting the goal and making the reward chart is already 2 stickers. That's a great start. They actually did studies around this. So, if you already have 2 stickers in, you already feel like, yes, I'm already 2 in. Like I said, make the rewards about the effort and not the result. And celebrate mini wins and big wins. So not, I remember we had a 30-day calendar with reward, a 30-day reward chart. And it was not around dates. So it was not, if you missed a day, you missed a sticker. So therefore, you couldn't even finish the reward chart because you missed a spot. So we rewarded every attempt. So we had 30 tries. So even if you missed a day, that reward the day before or the week before, that still counted. And then we didn't have a big... That changed when, of course, they were a little bit older, but still we had a mini reward after 7 attempts or 7 efforts. And we had a big one after 30 stickers. And you can decide with them what the reward will be. After 7, they can decide what's for breakfast or pick out dessert. After 30, let them pick out a small toy from the toy store. And by the way, if your goal is, improve reading, don't buy a book as a reward. That's a punishment. If they hate reading, and you have this goal about helping them with reading and read more, that's hard. And then you're going to reward them with, another book. And they're like, yeah, I finished the book. I'm getting a new book. That sounds like punishment. So make it a fun reward and not actually here's a new goal reward kind of thing. So when you set goals, let go. Let go of those standardized tests, because a grade A student going to university, that is not equal to an happy adult life. Being allowed to be yourself and following your strengths, and speak up for yourself and do what you love. That is what, ends in results in a happy adult life. So with your kid, think about, what makes them happy? What are their goals? To end it off, one boy is in his final year of college. And we thought, because he's so young, he's almost 19, for sure he was going to, go to university or, do another college semester or whatever after this. Because he's a history nerd. And he loves to draw maps and things like that. So we were convinced. The other day, we asked him what he wanted to do after this. And we didn't already give an answer. We didn't already provide him with ideas. We listened. And he said, well, when I'm finished with this year, and it was really hard, I just want to have, a decent job and have the time to write my book. And we went like, okay. And we know he's busy with this book, like this really the next Tolkien. He has this amazing fantasy world and all kinds of tribes in his head, and they all have their own language, and he already has the maps drawn for each city, country, or whatever, and he wants to write his own book. And he said, yeah, for now, and maybe that will change, maybe in a year time that will change. And he's like, well, I better go back to college or, go to university after this. And that's fine. But for now, we went like, good for you. If that's what you want to do, we're fully supporting you. And I actually think it's really cool that we didn't even think about it. And he was like, after this, I'm finished with college for now. And I just want to have a decent job, that I kind of enjoy, and have all the time I need to write my book. And how many of us are not like, we are in this dead-end job, we don't really have a dream, we struggle, and we have all these plans about, one day, when I get older, when I have time, I will do this and this and this. And he already has it figured out for now. He's like, well, at the moment, I would like to do this. And with that, I can enable myself to do that. And good for him. So, with that said, that was my, again, never short podcast about goal setting and how important it is to let go of setting goals for your kids that are only involved around getting A's and going to college and university, Well, maybe your kid is the happiest if you help him or her really follow their dreams. And of course, a dream can change if you're 4 years old or 6 years old and you want to be a princess or an astronaut. But what are the hobbies they truly enjoy and what makes them thrive? And of course, if they struggle with certain things, of course we need to help them. But it's not only about the end result. It's about the effort they put in and that they try. And we should applaud them for that. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I'm really curious. Let me know what you think. Do you set goals with your kids or not? Let me know. Send me a personal message via Instagram or Facebook. Talk about this in the private Facebook group Special Needs Supermoms. Let me know. I'm really curious. And if you have the time and you really find my podcast valuable, please do me the honor and rate and review this podcast, because that, I find it really cool if I read those reviews. It's good for my self-esteem, but also it helps other moms find this podcast. So until then, bye.